is Laura from Laura Lynn Photography and from the Snap Society. Today I'm going to show you how to do a sky overlay, and next week I'm going to follow it up and show you how to do a mirror of that sky into something such as this, where I have a glassy sand from the water. This is my original image. I've already gone through and I have cloned out and I have changed my coloring. I used my preset Delicate to get this coloring. It was just a one-click thing. That was all I did. And now I'm going to show you how to do the sky overlay. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my little mover button over here, and I already have my sky overlay pulled up, the one that I want to use. Unfortunately, I don't know the name of whose this belongs to. I bought it probably 4 years ago, but you can find so many different sky overlays from so many different places on Etsy, or there are photographers who sell them, things like that, so find the ones that work for you. So I'm going to just click and drag this over, and I'm going to place it on top of my image, okay? And you can see that it's smaller than my original image, so I need to make it bigger. What I want to do is hit Command T. You can also go up here and do it this way. It would be under Edit and Transform, okay? But I'm going to use my keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Shift key and I'm going to pull from the corners. I do this because it helps to prevent warping of the image. If you pull from the sides or the top or the bottom, you're going to kind of skew the image to make it different, and you're not keeping the proportions as they are. So pulling from just the sides is what's going to help you do that. I'm going to hit Enter, and now I'm going to move this to where I want it. Normally I would, if you wanted it just at the horizon line, you'd leave it here, but I don't want any of these clouds, so I'm going to move it down because I want just from this half up, okay? So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to come over to my blend mode, and I'm going to go from normal to multiply. I do this for every single sky overlay that I create. The first thing from here is I need to create a layer mask so that I can get this off of the bottom and off of them. So I'm going to hit this little layer mask button down here. And now, since I have a white window, I need a black brush. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. You can do that by hitting the letter B or by using your mouse and clicking. I'm going to make my brush bigger. I do this by using the bracket keys on my keyboard. The right one makes it bigger, left one makes it smaller. And I'm just going to remove this. I have 100% opacity removing this right now. I don't want any of it left. And I'm going to show you how I do this when I get a little bit closer as well. So I'm going to zoom in very, very close, about 300% here, so that I can easily remove this off of them. So I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to do this as much as I can, and I want to do my best not to create a halo effect around them. That's really important. That's maybe one of the hardest things when it comes to sky overlays, is making sure that you do not create a halo around your subject, because that is going to give away your secrets. So I'm going to go through this and I'm going to remove all of this from them, and then I will come back and show you the next step. Okay, so now we're back. So you can see everything that I have done here. I've completely taken it off this bottom part of the water. I've taken it off them. Now what I'm going to do is, because I want to make sure that it blends properly into the horizon. Naturally, skies fade the closer it gets to the horizon. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that with this sky overlay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my brush opacity down to 20%, and I'm going to do that by hitting the number 2. Okay, I'm going to take a very big brush and I'm just going to sweep across, and I'm going to kind of move it up and down. And this is part of the reason I didn't go super close to the edge of them when I was removing it originally. I just wanted to make sure that I was getting it as close to the edge as possible, and then I'm removing the rest of it with slowly removing layer by layer, 20% at a time, okay? So this is what we've got so far, and for the most part that's perfectly fine, and I could leave it like this. However, because I see that there's a reflection above, actually, because I see the reflection of them is below, the reflection from above would also be below. So I definitely want to make sure that I show you guys how to do that the next time, but I'm going to show you how to take this just a little bit further. I'm going to go to my adjustments and my curves tool. I'm going to bring down my curves just a little bit, and I still have my adjustment brush. I'm going to make this bigger, and I'm going to just stamp it over them. And I'm going to keep doing this a couple times. What I'm doing here is I'm helping to make sure I'm separating my subjects from my background just a little bit more. And you can see how that kind of looks there. And then the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit more separation. By doing that, I'm going to click this new layer here. I have a white brush, which is exactly what I want. I am going to drag it at 100% opacity straight across. Stay with me, I'm not losing my mind. Now I'm going to grab another layer, mask, and I'm going to reduce this opacity so that I can see them properly. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to remove this white line that I just created from them. Okay, so I'm going to do all of that and I will be back. Okay, so continuing on, I want to make sure that you guys are seeing exactly how slow I'm going, and I'm just taking a lot of care to make sure, again, that I don't create a halo around them, and if I do, I can fix it. I just, if I can prevent it, then that's what I want to do. So it's really important to know the bigger your brush, the more feather you have. I'm using a round brush, so I have a lot of feather that goes on the bigger my brush gets. So as I get closer to the edge, I want to make sure that I'm getting my brush even smaller because that creates less of a feather. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. One way to check your masking is to hit the backslash, and you can see where it's red, and then you can see some spots where it's not red, where I've missed. And just a couple in her hair. For the most part, it's not too bad. Nothing that would likely be very noticeable, but still, you want to make sure it's as close as possible. Okay, so now you can see the difference here and how that has separated them from the background. I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. I hope that you have fun playing around with it. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask, and I'll see you next week so that we can mirror the bottom of it.